put a new toilet in, and we've just put a makeshift, like a wash tub sink outside the bathroom, because like I said, we're talking the bathroom is about the size of this table. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. So we took the sink out, you got a little bit more room. So we did some repairs to the bathroom, and we have to do some repairs to the door, the big overhead door. I have no idea who hit it. I got a good idea, but nobody's owned up to it. It wasn't us. That's all I need to tell you. So there's only the county and the state truck that's being backed in there in the winter. So the door itself is fine, but the railing looks like a rolled gold pretzel. We got it so we can get the door up and down. So I went to a lumberyard and new rails. Hopefully Dukeshire will be here to put them in. It's probably going to be about $1,000. Our lease states with the state that we are responsible for basically everything out there. Everything. I mean, furnace, we put a bunch of money into the furnace a couple years ago. So, just letting you know that we're putting money into a building we don't own.
We lease it.
We lease it on a 2-year lease, $6,000 every 2 years. So it's cheap heated rent lease, $250 a month. Now the lease does state, which I kind of find funny, that if the state would decide to not lease to us, and that comes up again in June of this year, that we could take all the improvements out. So I guess we could take the bathroom and the toilet and the door rails and the furnace and everything with us, but hopefully they continue to lease to us. But we are sticking money into this building. We're heating it, and every time something breaks, we're fixing it. So just to let you know what's going on. Renee's been aware of it, that she's going to get a bill from TJ. I said, write state shed on it so we know. Renee and I are kind of, we talked last week, we're kind of going back and looking at some of the bills, what Mike Waggle's furnace bill was. I think we put about $4,000 last winter into the furnace. And I think we need to, and I will, before we reach out, before our lease is up with the state in June, I think we need to make the state aware of all the, I won't say improvements, but in a way they're improvements, because when you fix something, it's better, it winds up being better than what you have. Right. Into a building that is not owned by Walls County. It's owned by the state of North Dakota, DOT. So, I mean, heated shop space is hard to find. I don't want to lose it. But, you know, and like I said, it's $3,000 every year, $6,000 every 2 years. But I think if it comes down that they want to increase the rent when they, like I said, we're up at the end of June, I think it needs to be brought to their attention of the money we're sticking into that building. You know, we're maintaining the grounds, everything.
It wouldn't hurt to let them know. I don't think it'll do any good.
I don't think it'll do any good, but I mean, I think they need to realize that they have a place to put their truck 6 months out of the year, and it does not cost them 1 single cent.
Yeah.
We're paying for everything.
Right.
So I wanted to make you aware of that. Currently we were having some minor furnace troubles as of this morning. That's why I wasn't here a little earlier at the Pheasant shop. As we speak, Mike Waggle is overlooking at that hanging resin furnace. We did not have heat this morning when we came in. Nothing froze up or anything, but it's obviously something that needs to be fixed. Went through all 3 truck plows this winter. When I mean we had to fix the one, that's fixed back on the plow. And to stay busy, we pulled the other 2 plows off the trucks. And these are off the 2 trucks that we bought from the state of North Dakota these past couple years. And we basically welded and rebuilt everything that we could to make sure they're good, just to keep the guys busy. We're not pushing snow. So our 3 truck plows, plow-wise, are in good shape. Truck-wise, we had, there's a lot of rust on these 2 trucks that we bought from the state. We had hard lines, hydraulic hard lines underneath the box, started to give way. So we pulled all the hard lines off one of the trucks and put hoses on because of the rust. So we have been working on those trucks, and they're right now in good operating condition. John Deere rental tractor will be here on time. In fact, it'll be a little bit early, which is good. If we continue to have a decent winter, we have miles to pull shoulders on starting up by Wellsburg, so there is no delay in that John Deere rental tractor. The chip spreader is almost done. It's about ready to be put back together. The guys in Harvey, that's been all, if you've been in the Harvey shop, the chip spreader is in pieces. Fenders off and replacing a bunch of stuff on that. That will be fixed shortly. And then they'll start on the last plow that we have to fix. And the one thing that I do want to talk to you guys about, we talked about it at the last meeting, is if we decide, whatever we decide to do with 71, I got to have gravel put up down in that area. We don't want to haul gravel 35 miles away. So, and it's going to have to be a damn good quality of gravel. It's going to have to be class 13. So I will be speaking to, you know, I've spoke to Mitch Maddock yesterday about the Weiss pit. Hopefully, you know, they're going to put some gravel up there. Hopefully they can put it, we're going to need 10,000 yards just for that highway. To cover that highway if we're going to grind it. 1,100 yards a mile. 9 miles. So we'll be looking at a $50,000 bill in gravel.
And you can get that good quality gravel out of there?
We can get it, we can have it made in the pits north of town. It's just, and we can have it made in the pit south of town by Weiss's. But I'm just gonna check with Pat Beal about a little, I mean, Weiss's is fairly close, but by the time we get to the south end of that highway, we're talking about 15 plus miles.
There is a pit over by Window House.
Yeah. It's just
Landowners up on that hill.
Yeah, it's just a process of when we have the gravel made, that I'll be there taking samples, running them to Minot, and I trust the guys that make our gravel that, you know, we're going to want good binder in it, and we're going to, I mean, we're going to want, you know, good product of gravel. That's what makes these roads, when we grind them, into really good roads.
That would be a must.
It has to be. It's got to be a top priority. Yeah, we'll haul all the gravel. We'll probably need a little help because moving 10,000 yards of gravel, we'll need extra belly dumps. I'll contact Harry Susag or whoever, but just wanted to make you guys, kind of give you guys a heads up that we're going to have to put up a large cone of gravel down south to do that project. Other than that, I have some information on when Billadu Township comes in, so I'll be around for that. You guys got any questions for me?
What kind of gravel did you guys use when you fixed that road from by Jim Glazier's east of his place, that first quarter or half a mile? Because that road's been fixed, and you don't have to touch that road. That bugger's in such good
We got the gravel from Kerry Susag. He hauled it. Because it was a bid project, we didn't haul the gravel over. When we spoke to our engineers, the engineers says, well, Kerry Susag's been providing stuff for it. So we had Kerry bring it. I'm assuming he brought it from the deck pit or from the pit by the Harvey Golf Course.
Because if every road looked like that, we'd have her made.
Binder's really important. And
well, I mean, it's that road just, I mean, I realize there hasn't been any traffic on it, but I mean, even before.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a lot of traffic past that bridge now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Kerry Susag is the one that supplied the gravel. And then it went right into the bid price for the engineer. I mean, for the company that did the project. Walt is coming today, so I'm assuming we'll get some answers.
County 5, we got one more bill from KLJ this month. Are we done with those pretty soon, you think?
Well, I would assume. I'm assuming it's for the west end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big one.
Yeah, it was 78,000, so it must be paving.
Yeah. Because the only two projects that KLJ is, I mean, you know, KLJ was obviously working with the project over by Harvey and the bridge project that was finished in October. They were also working with the project on County 5, the 7 miles of pavement, and they are working, surveying and doing County 1 bridge. Them are the 3 projects you have with KLJ. So I would assume that 78,000 is the final bill for probably the
Well, no one
County
knows
five.
if it's final or not. You keep
That's
getting
the
bills.
question.
I haven't spoke to, KLJ hasn't reached out to me now for 2 months. I honestly thought it was all done.
Well, I did too.
Well, no, I've looked back, you know me, I was never too happy about the whole deal anyway.
Really?
I keep bringing it up like a
That's the
broken.
first I've heard it.
So in turn, every month, you never really got a bill other than miscellaneous. Well, this last month now, finally, you got a big one, but like Dan says, they come all the time. You don't know
Well, they're not
what
labeled.
they're for,
They're not
or
itemized
if it's
very
all
well.
done.
Yeah, they're not labeled, so you don't know what the heck it's for.
Well, you guys,
We'll just wait and see.
I mean, you got, right now, you guys got 2 engineering firms working for you. You know, between Walt and
Right.
KLJ. But, I mean, some major projects have been done in Wells County. Now, obviously, there should be no bill for KLJ on the bridge project, because that was all in the grant money that we received. So any bill that you are getting from KLJ, to my knowledge, then should only be on County 5.
Well, yeah.
Right. We're
Or the
suing
bridge
it.
out here.
Or the bridge, but that's in such the beginning stages of
Right,
it that
that you wouldn't think you would.
There's a bill
yeah,
yet.
I wouldn't, I certainly wouldn't think so, but, you know, I don't
Never
do
know.
their billing. Other than that, I'll hang around because there's some, you know, I gotta be around for Bill to do and stuff like that, but,
Yeah, we got some other topics down the road.
yeah, and then, you know, well, you know, not to change the subject, but, you know, with as far as the fairgrounds for the all-school reunion, I mean, we're gonna be, you know, we'll be taking care of, we're responsible for the grounds. I'm not against having campers out there, because I understand that there's gonna be a lot of people in Pheasant for the all-school reunion, but it sure does throw a wrench in the monkey, pardon my, a week before the fair, because I can imagine what that fairgrounds is gonna look like Monday morning after the all-school reunion, and then we gotta prep it in 3 days for the fair on Thursday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a tough situation, we'll do it. I mean, Huey will be out there where, you know, if that's who we did have, I think that's what we've talked about. But it would be much better if it was a week after the fair, because there's gonna be damage done to the fairgrounds. You can probably figure rain.
That would be.
You know,
Right.
I mean, so, you know, you're gonna have to get everything out of there Sunday night, Monday morning, and then we'll have about 2 days to re-mow and get everything ready for the fair the following, that Thursday.
What's
You know-
the possibility of some of them planning to stay for the fair?
Well, that could be the
Yeah.
issue. So then you're gonna
Where
be
you gonna
mowing
put them
around
then?
campers and things
They
like
gotta-
that.
They're gonna have to move though. 'Cause
I certainly would suggest that if you do something like that, where you're gonna have campers out there for 3, 4, or possibly a week, that these guys are paying for camping for possibly a week.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, you're gonna
That's-
have to look at what these campgrounds are charging around Bowden, Pheasant, and, you know, it can't be for free.
Well, we haven't even accepted.
Right,
that yet,
right.
so.
And I understand you got a small town with no motels and you're gonna have people coming
Right.
in and shuttling, but,
Public service.
but it, you know, you wanna do it, but it is gonna cause issues.
Well, you know, where they park them though, at that time of the year, if you mow everything.
Yeah.
good,
I mean, if we're talking 10 campers, we put them way back in the south end of the fairgrounds, it's really not gonna hurt anything back there. But if we're talking 30 campers and they're all the way down the side up to the front gate, you know, there's only so many outlets out there.
That's gonna be.
And, you
That's
know,
gonna be a problem.
and water hookups.
And the people coming to the fair are gonna want their
Spots.
normal
Well,
spots.
Yeah.
That's
Probably
usually
if you open it, they probably have to exit. the-
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
they're, you know,
it's usually pretty full during the
Yeah,
fair.
And I know it'll be something we talk about in March, but I just wanted to interject on that,
We've actually got it on the agenda for next month.
yeah, for March, yeah, I was here when they brought about it. So anyway, other than that, guys, unless you have anything else for me, I'm done.
Okay. Very good. Nobody else has anything for Brent? Let's see. Newmillers, you guys wanna come up?
Kind of overview, I guess, of my speech.
Right. More reading material.
You want one?
Yeah, if you got an extra one, I don't wanna take your copy.
So obviously, I'm Michael Newmiller here to talk about County Road 71. I'm gonna start out by talking about a few facts in this highway and then lead into a few questions about this highway. Within a couple months, there's gonna be 12 first responders that live within a mile or two of this highway. Their names are listed on the paper that I gave you. This road is the main bus route. Within 2 to 3 years, there'll be 11 kids that will ride the bus, but the majority of them kids being at the very south end of this highway. It's a main mail road, we all know that. Some would call it the gateway to Wells County. You might laugh at me at that, but nobody lives down there where we do in this room. You guys don't see the traffic. It's crazy. There are plenty of Kidder County trucks that come to Wells County to sell their grain and then turn around and buy many products from Wells County businesses. There's multiple RVs pulling boats heading to campgrounds right outside of our county lines. In the winter, there's numerous ice houses, snow bears, and plenty of other ice fishing opportunities for people in this community down that highway. There are a number of out-of-state hunters that come to our area to hunt, spend a lot of money in this county, and rely on that road for the snowy and wet seasons. This roadway connects 2 state highways, Highway 36 and Highway 200. According to the state code, that makes County Road 71 a main artery to the public. There are a number of businesses within 1 mile of the County Road 71 that would be affected. KT Carpentry, County Line Truck Repair, PJT Angus Ranch, Kathy Pottery, Lucky Duck Truck Polishing, which would probably have to go out of business if that road's turned into gravel. There are 2 churches within a mile of this road. There's also an airport along this highway. You guys might think this is funny, but it's the same exact things you guys wanted information about when you did County Road 5. Same exact thing. You were listing all the why we needed to fix County Road 5, I believe, like a year ago when I was at a meeting. In bad weather events, water could run over this road in 5 different places. If this would be ground up, what kind of damage is that going to replace or cause to this gravel road? And how much money would we have to spend to fix that gravel road back up? Landowners in this area feel this paved road is one benefit we receive from paying taxes. We already see next to no law enforcement in this area of the county. If we lose the highway, we are afraid we will not see any law enforcement at all. If our local sheriff's department would enforce a speed limit of trucks coming from Kidder County, this road wouldn't even be on our minds to be ground up. 2-part question. Have counters been talked about on this road for an accurate amount of traffic? And if so, what time of year would they be placed out? The time frame, I think, would make a big difference in these numbers.
Yeah, we talked about that, Brent. When are they coming again? Every 2 years, right? Counters?
I think they're gonna be here this summer.
Right, but it's like every 2 years.
I haven't
to answer
seen,
your question, or 3
yeah,
years.
I have not been contacted as to where the counters will be put, but there were, but they never contacted the road department when they put counters out.
Oh, they don't?
Nope,
Who is they? Who put them out?
State.
state.
State
In fact,
counters on county highways?
Yeah, when we,
Township road.
this spring, when we ground up that 1.5 miles over by Hamburg, about 2 weeks later after we ground it up, they put a counter across the gravel road. Nobody contacted us.
Well, how did they, I thought they did.
Nope.
So. how
Because
did
we
they
had to
determine
lift up
where
the
they
blade to go around the counter.
Really?
Yeah, we would have told them, don't put a counter on that portion
yeah.
of the road.
How did they determine where to put them? Or who's they?
I would guess that would be a question, would be a great question for Walt Engineering when they're here today.
Yeah.
So can you request them though too, can't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
luck.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
They want to adhere, we're paying the bill to
Yeah.
maintain some of this stuff.
They randomly put them everywhere, and I think, and it would be a question for Walt Engineering, but I think if Walt contacted the state and said, hey, we're looking at a project on Highway 71.
Right.
We need some counters out there, could you put some counters there? They would.
Right, right.
Michael, you had suggested that seasonally dependent. Would you say the fall is the busiest time there?
October's the busiest?
I would say, yeah, you get into harvest season between early August and middle of October it would be an eye-opening number, in my opinion. But I just don't think in the middle of summer,
Talk
that's an
about what you
accurate number.
see, talk about what you see in terms of traffic coming out of Kidder County. I guess that's something I guess we've talked about, but we're not there to observe.
Well, a lot of us, obviously, we know that we're not there for a large portion of the summer, but come fall time and early winter, late winter, the amount of trucks that come from the south is ridiculous. And there's usually dust coming off them trucks a half mile up the highway yet from when they come by our shop. Do we have trucks that go up and down that road? Absolutely. Every one of our trucks that's on that road has a GPS tracker on it. And our guys know that they shouldn't speed. And we can go back to every 5 seconds I can check my truck speed along that highway. I don't think it's our trucks. I think it's all the trucks coming from the south. RVs, I'm saying it in there, but it's dumb that the amount of people that use this highway. Maybe if it was gravel, less people would be on their road, and it'd be awesome for us. We wouldn't see anybody, but I guess I'll carry on with everyone in our area. Thinks we're pretty spoiled. Our blade operator is, I'd say, next to the best around. I don't think anyone would argue with that. I think our county plows are doing an amazing job keeping that highway open after a storm. If we don't see a blade for 2 to 3 to 4 days after a big storm, that's not that big a deal to us, because usually the first day the plow has hit it once, if not twice. So we're pretty fortunate that we can get to the highway and go 8 or 9 miles, depending on where you live, up the highway to get to the main road. I'm concerned if it does get turned to gravel, who's gonna open that road then? Is the county plow still gonna do that road?
Tim Buckwitz would open it.
Okay, that's good. That leads to my next question as far as, I think at the last meeting you talked about going from 9 blades down to 7 blades.
Well, we have 8 blades, and I don't want to see us go to 7, but we have to make cuts, so, we have to make cuts to make ends meet, and all I suggested was it was something we need to look at. I mean, we all have to make cuts to get our budget to match, so all I did was suggest that it's something we need to look at.
There's been no decision.
There's
Yeah,
been
I
no
agree.
decision,
But
yeah.
it was
And we have 8 blades. Wells County has had 8 blades running routes since long before I was working for the county in 2002. We have a 9th blade that is a backup blade because we've had issues, and that blade has gone out and worked on roads. We've actually trained another blade operator in it this fall. So realistically, if the decision would be made to go down to 7 regular blades, we would more than likely still have 8 blades. We just would have a route of 7 blades. But like I said, that was just it was brought up
That's
because
a brainstorming thing.
the brainstorming
it's all
thing,
questions
because
you
we're
think
gonna
about,
have
though.
to at some point try to address the elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room is that the road department is $600,000 in the red every year. I think that's pretty safe to say. That's about $50,000 a month. Yeah.
So I guess if it's gonna be the blade, and I don't think anyone has a problem, kinda gotta go on a rotation, I think after a storm, sometimes with the first day, sometimes with the second day, sometimes with the third day, and that's fine. But if that main road is not hit until the 3rd day, that's gonna be a problem.
Well, what would happen in that situation, theoretically, is that the Bowden blade would be working that road when he's not out on tip. That would be a county gravel road, okay? So usually the county gravel roads are there. That would be the probably. I would agree with you. That would be the highest traffic county gravel road that we have, with the exception possibly of Cottonwood Road, but it still would be more than Cottonwood. So if the truck plows are out opening highways, then Buckwitz would be out opening that 9-mile stretch, because it is a main artery. But yes, I understand. I do understand your concern.
Good, thank you. So there's heaves up and down the highway. What are we gonna do to these heaving spots in this highway before we start grinding? I'm not no engineer or anything, but I just feel like if we spend a bunch of money laying gravel down, grinding it, we're still gonna have a heavy gravel road. Are we gonna, and is this the reason, Are we trying to grind this road because it's heaved up and it's bumpy, or are we doing it because it's just down to money? What's the reason we're actually looking at doing this? And I'd much rather drive on a heavy highway than a heavy gravel road.
I'd say it's a combination of different things. The eaves and maintenance is probably the big one, right?
I think
Well, if it gets
money is
too
still
bad,
involved.
it's a safety issue. I mean, that's one of the reasons, like north of Heimdall a few years ago, we ground up. It was just dangerous to drive on it. You know, getting to a point. You don't want it to get to that point.
Right.
Then it's,
We're not at that point yet.
and you're
Unless
not.
you're doing 75, 85 miles an hour.
There's still heaves on the heating gravel road.
Yeah.
That's my point.
There's a
I know,
couple.
there's a couple
Right.
by go Colby Farm, they're
Right.
bad in the spring.
There's some on Highway 52, so, you know,
Right.
it's just.
To me, if you're gonna spend that money to make it to gravel, what's the point of doing it if we're still have heaves on it? So, that's the point I wanna bring up. We guys talked about this already a little bit. Would you allow an engineering firm to evaluate the highway to determine the best course of action? Are we doing this just because the people here think we're gonna do this, or are we getting an engineer in who actually knows something about, you know, the quality? And I'm not disapproving your knowledge or not, but people that do it for a living. And it sounds like we do have a couple engineers with the county, and I'd like to see someone down there, you know, making a informed decision on this.
We pay a lot of engineers.
A lot of engineer fees.
The general consensus of landowners in our area don't feel that any real tax dollars get spent south of Pheasants. We'd like to see that change. A year ago, I believe Brian Sebelius was in this commissioners meeting, and he was told that there are no plans of grinding this highway in the next 10 years. What has made that statement change all of a sudden? Am I wrong with Brian Sebelius coming here and asking that question?
Money.
I remember him coming. It's about all.
That might have been the deal at the time, but we're getting some of this prairie dog money, which would not be nearly enough to pave that. That's like, what, $4 or $5 million bucks
Yeah,
or more.
easy.
To regrind it and stuff, what we get from there would be probably enough money in another year. And that's where the conversation came from.
Well, just things that we've been told, and now things are changing, and that's not the only thing that we've been told over the last few years that would happen on that highway that I haven't seen happen, so. Our property values would lose a lot of money on our farmsteads. Would we get our property values reevaluated and lowered so we pay less taxes because now our property ain't worth as much because we don't have a highway running down to our essentially our homes, our place to live. If I want to sell my house, which I probably won't for several years, but other people along the highway I've talked to, got at their places in the last few days, said, hey, if I want to sell, I'm going to lose value because now I have 7 miles of gravel to my house rather than a half a mile. I think that needs to be adjusted or talked about or asked. And then, other than that, that's really all I got. I appreciate your time. Like I said, the plows do an amazing job in our area. And we'd just like to be kept up to date on this issue. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. I just want things you guys to think about before we all of a sudden just lay the hammer down and there's gravel put down and the people that don't live down there didn't get a voice.
One thing that I think does need to be brought up is that we ground up 6 miles into Bremen. And when you grind a highway up, that doesn't mean that it's never become pavement again. Bremen is a fine example of that. When Bremen was ground up many, many years ago, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, I think it was the consensus of the commissioners at that point that we weren't going to repave it. So a lot of times on a major, if we were going to do a major overlay on 71, the engineers themselves would probably tell you the first step is to grind it up.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we realize that money might change. Maybe you just never know. Maybe there'll be more programs. So by grinding it up does not mean by any means that 5 years down the road that it couldn't be returned to
This would
asphalt.
probably be the first step. if you
This
were
would
looking
be
at-
the first step realistically to a major